Walid, let me go back and ask you this, because I mentioned it before the break. The Arab Spring, what they're calling the Arab Spring, Mubarak being overthrown, a success for those that desire true democracy in the world. That's not really the case, is it?
Absolutely not. We've seen Egypt. Egypt is gone. Libya is gone. Tunisia is gone. I mean, I know of Tunisia's Al-Nahda movement from the years I was in Chicago. I mean, there was Rashad al-Ghanouchi. He was a Muslim Brotherhood. Everybody knows that. Egypt. We've seen Egypt. I mean, they were not showing on the news what really was going on in Egypt.
Tell us what really was going on, how this all was orchestrated.
I mean, you had a secular so-called movement. And then on Friday prayer, the Muslim Brotherhood began their movement. And it was during that Friday after the prayer when you had the real revolution.
We're talking about a radical Islamic group that was banned from Egypt in 1922 and was responsible for assassinating Sadat because of his plans for peace treaty with Israel.
It's banned all over the Middle East. It was banned all over, except America. It's not banned. It's banned throughout the Middle East. In fact, Sheikh Qaradawi, the spear leader of the spirit, you know, the head and the brain of the Muslim Brotherhood is really Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradawi. He took the stage on Victory Day in Tahrir Square. And how many Americans watched what happened in Egypt? Nobody. Nobody showed 2 million Egyptians in Tahrir Square crying out, Al-Quds Raihin Shuhada bil Malayin. English, to Jerusalem we march, martyrs by the millions. To Jerusalem we march. That's from the Bible, by the way, Zechariah. Jerusalem will be, what? A trembling cup to all who? Surrounding nations. And so you had Wa'il Ghunaim. Wa'il Ghunaim was the Twitter boy. Everybody was talking about on Fox and CNN and how this is a secular revolution in Egypt. What happened on Victory Day? He was thrown out of the stage. Who took the stage and spoke on Victory Day in Egypt? It was none other than the spearhead of the Muslim Brotherhood, Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradawi.
So you were talking to me at lunch, and I forgot the word in Arabic, but this idea, the strategy, the
Muruna.
Muruna. The end is the same, the dominance of Sharia law throughout the world, but the strategy is different. Talk about this.
You know, I mean, the question people need to ask themselves, what happened? Has Al-Qaeda, has the Muslim Brotherhood, has the leopard shed its spots all of a sudden? All of a sudden, they're all peaceful. What's going on? What's going on was a plan from 1989, December, in fact, in the U.S., in which the spirit leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradawi, met with other Muslim Brotherhood in the United States of America, and they decided to begin a movement and a teaching and a new doctrine called Muruna, which means how to be flexible, flexibility in Islam. In fact, I'll read a quote of what Muruna is. Many Americans heard of taqiyya wal-kitman, how to defend the faith, how to cover the faith, how to smile in the face of your enemy while you harbor inner animosity towards them. In other words, put a different face. And this is a
terrorist ploy.
Absolutely. And Muruna is part of Islam. And so Qaradawi says, he gives it names, doctrine of balance. This is what doctrine of balance within Muruna states. Look what he says. To balance between good and evil. In other words, Muslims need to do evil. How can they do evil and be forgiven? For evil is a sin. To balance between good and evil, and if they conflict with each other, we make priority as to when we put ahead evil for the sake of good. In other words, you can do evil things, but it's for the sake of good. The way the U.S. looks at things, as they look at the lesser of the two evils, at this moment, they're thinking, okay, what's happened in the Middle East? Tunisia has become a Sharia institution now. It's going to become all Islamized. Libya, Muammar Gaddafi is no more. Things I've said in your program that will happen years ago and already happened. Egypt is turning to Islamic. But the West is thinking, well, which one do we prefer? Iran's fiery brand of Islam or a moderate Islamic government in the Middle East? Turkey being so-called moderate, but they're not moderate at all. All what happened was that the Islamists learn from the experiment of Al-Qaeda. Osama bin Laden is no more. They learn from the experiment of Iran. You see, cyber rattling, nuclear. They said, we need to gain the West first. This is Muruna. You have to be stealth to gain the power, to topple all the governments throughout the Middle East. Then we can proclaim a caliphate. The proclamation of an Islamic caliphate is part of the system. Israel is in great danger. But I'm not worried about Israel. Yes, it's in a great danger, but we keep forgetting about the most important element in the Bible, God. God is in the side of Israel. Iran will gain its nuclear, no question. In fact, I've won this gentle...
Wait, say that again, because that's a big statement. You believe that Iran is going to succeed in developing nuclear weapons and then do what? Launch them against Israel?
They could launch them against Israel, but remember, the Israelis have the Aero missile. It could meet any missile coming from Iran midway over on top of Saudi Arabia. And if you look at the Bible, remember, the harlot is destroyed by two entities, by the people of the hand of my people, Israel. And then you have in Isaiah 21, arise, O Elam, to destroy what? Arabia. Elam is Iran. Persia will destroy Arabia. I believe Arabia is the harlot of Babylon. If you look at the Bible, when you read Babylon in the Bible, all the names of the cities, entities, regions within those Babylon in the Bible, you will never find any ancient name of any Babylonian city. There is no mention of Kalne, Sumer, Akkad, Babel, Erech. Every single vicinity is in Arabia. The burden against Dumma is in Arabia. The burden against the Didan, Qidar, those are all in Arabia. It's born from Babylon. That's why it's called the daughter of Babylon. We need to focus on Saudi Arabia because it is mentioned heavily in the Bible.
Okay, so